How we doing? It's Mailman Nick. Follow me on Instagram at Nick Venti. If you enjoy this content, please give us a thumbs up. Don't treat us like 204Bs over here. And obviously, these are our own thoughts and opinions, and we not speak on behalf of the Postal Service. So, Mike, thank you again for coming on. Got some important news today. We got details about the contract. I know you got a lot to say. So, what are your opinions on it? And talk about the details a little bit more in depth. And did we get screwed? Is it basically the same thing?
Yeah, it's basically the same thing. It is the same thing. There's really only a minor change that I see in there, and it's not for the good; it's for the worse. At least under the TA, the starting career letter care started at step C, and now the starting career letter care will start at step B. It's a huge slap in the face, man. Starting clerk is making $27-28 an hour, career clerk, and even C did not get up to $27-28. It was still going to be less than a clerk, but now it's B. It's even worse, and President Renfro agreed to all the other terms in the that were rejected in the tentative agreement, and it's just this thing is being put out as an arbitration award, but what it really is what we call in the arbitration business a stipulated award, and that means that both sides generally agree to the terms, and the arbitrator writes it up. So what they had last week was a couple of days of like loose mediation, which they didn't really present anything. There was no antagonistic hearings. There was no fight whatsoever by our union. After we rejected the terms of the tentative agreement, we got them shoved down our throats anyway. And that's there's even a line in there about how all of the terms of the tentative agreement, which the tentative agreement is not even in front of the arbitrator. So if you reject the tentative agreement, what happens to the terms of the tentative agreement is they go away. They're not in effect. They're not a contract. They're not a nothing. But the parties went ahead and gave the arbitrator the terms of the tentative agreement and said, hey, we're willing to agree to those, meaning that the NALC is willing to agree to the terms of the tentative agreement that were rejected by the members of the NALC. So who's running this show, Right. One guy who's the president or the members of the union that are supposed to have our say. So, man, it's really, you asked me how I feel about it. I'm just very frustrated. I'm angry, pissed off. 2 years. More than 2 years. This thing negotiations started February 22nd of 2023, which is like 25 months ago. And we get this, shit sandwich after 25 months. I couldn't be more upset about it. But the only silver lining in this thing, I wanted to tell that people is that we did bring forward charges against President Renfro in October. And this was actually before the terms of the tentative agreement had been announced. And a lot of people, say, hey, well, what's up with these charges? It seems like you're just kind of messing with the guy, And that's not it at all. It's that if the next contract begins under the regime or under the term of office of President Renfro, then he will have the sole authority as the president of the NALC to go forward as he sees fit in the next round of contract negotiations. And this contract is now expiring in May of 2026. His term is not up. I'm assuming we're going to vote his ass out. Yeah, I'm going to do everything I can to get him out of there. I'll tell you that.
Me too.
I think a lot of people feel that way, especially now. But his term of office is not up to December of 2024. So the charges give us, the members of the union, an opportunity to do something so that the normal course of business, which is that the president runs the contract negotiations, doesn't take place next time, and we don't get another bad result out of the contract negotiations. So the charges were brought forth in October. We do now have the report of the investigator, Matty Rose, and the next step is the members of the executive council read the report, and then the members of the executive council. I'm out here in DC right now. That's why the screen looks green. because I'm at this hotel in DC because we have meetings this week. But the meetings of the executive council will start on Wednesday afternoon and then all day Thursday. And those meetings, one of the things on the agenda is regarding the charges. And the only thing that we have to determine is whether or not those charges are substantial or they're not substantial.
Right.
What do you think, Nick? You think they're substantial or they're not substantial?
Oh, very, very substantial. This is crazy.
Easy answer, right?
Yeah.
Easy answer.
Right.
Easy answer, but I can tell you that it's not going to be easy at all. And so I'm encouraging everyone around the country. You know, we have 15 national business agents. You guys don't have to call me in Region 3. I'm definitely going to say that they're substantial. I know they're substantial. But if you're in any other part of the country, call your business agent tomorrow. Call that regional office if you have their email or however you can contact them and say, hey, if this vote comes up this week, I want to know how you're going to vote as my representative on the council. You got business agents, you got people that are other, officers of the union. There's 28 of us total. And if I were you guys, I'd be contacting them in any way you can to make sure that they know that we want this council to determine that their charges are substantial, because then the next step will be an investigation and we can get some answers. Like, what the hell took so long? Why did you agree to the same thing that we had just voted down? What the hell have you been doing for the last 2 years? And, look, maybe there's a good explanation for all this stuff. I haven't heard it or seen it yet, but, now that the process is over and we have a contract, there's no reason whatsoever why we can't have a full discussion about what happened and have an investigation and let's see where it goes. Let's see what we're able to determine. But the only way that's going to happen is if the executive council determines that the charges are substantial.
Right, exactly. Because, we waited all this time and then we got something that we didn't like and then we got the same thing. We're just prolonging it. And, does this set a precedent now that, this is what we got? Is this what we're going to keep seeing in the future? Or do you think there's hope that we can negotiate something better when we get somebody else in there? Do you have any hopes, going forward? Or
well, I mean, look, the law, and look, we're in perilous times right now, man. The Postmaster General just abruptly resigned. He had planned on resigning, but he was going to allow the Board of Governors to find a successor for him. And now it's like, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know who's going to be appointed to Postmaster General in the interim or whatever. This whole thing is in jeopardy. So going forward, if the law remains the 1970 Postal Reorganization Act, it doesn't say anything about one arbitrator has to make a ruling based on what the previous arbitrator said. So that is not necessarily a legal factor, but you just don't know. You don't know where this thing is going to go. And I mean, this is now the fourth contract where we've had CCAs, and we made some progress on a couple of them in some ways. Like we had the progress of the last time where it was capped at 2 years. You couldn't be no more than 2 years as a CCA. Even though this was our main bargaining goal, was to eliminate the CCA classification for a lot of reasons. It was our main bargaining goal because we're not getting a lot of people hiring on the job, because the law says it's a career job, because the retention is bad, because the staffing is bad, because people coming out of the military, they're supposed to have a preference. They don't prefer this job at all. For a lot of reasons, that was our number one bargaining priority, and we made no progress at all on the CCA classification. Oh shit! They turned out the lights here, man.
It was Renfro.
I think is it a certain time? I don't know what time it is, but I guess they turn off the lights at a certain time, man.
Right, but your message still shines through, Mike.
That's crazy, man. But
hey, the CCA position, like my brother's a CCA right now, and he just wants benefits, and like he'll still work all the overtime and stuff, but he wants to have the career benefits and be treated like everybody else as far as like health insurance, vision, dental, and yeah, the last contract I was happy to be PTF after 2 years, but then now there's no type of like maybe a year or just after probation. There's nothing like that.
Yeah, it should have been some progress. Or I thought really, and I wasn't the only one, we were very optimistic in 2023 that we were going to be able to just get rid of make it all career workforce. I mean, we have all career model there's 46 offices in Illinois in the all career model. You know, there's none in the south suburbs where you're at, but there's a lot of them around the country. There's hundreds of these offices all around the country, and we negotiate a national contract. We should be negotiating the same thing for everybody. We want Congress to pass a law that gives people credit toward their non-career time. Why don't we just negotiate a contract that makes them a career employee? You know, we worked through the pandemic. We were deemed essential. The job has gotten more dangerous. There's a lot more responsibility put on the letter carrier. This should be a career job from day one. And we had a lot of good arguments to make, and we didn't even try. We didn't even, I mean, we could have at least held hearings on the one issue of a non-career workforce. At least tried that. We didn't even try, man. And it's just very frustrating to see that type of inaction from your president who works for the members of the union. And we're hurting right now. We're hurting, man. And this didn't help us any, but
yeah, because I see a lot of people comment on my channel saying, oh, I want to stop giving union dues and stuff like that. And nobody has faith in our union anymore. And it's because of our poor leadership. And they see this stuff like 7 days. It took 7 days. And then we get this, 0.2% more increase. So it's just, they see us as a joke. It's very unfortunate. Did you go to the rallies? You went to the rallies on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, we had a huge turnout on Sunday in Chicago. Were you? Did you go to Chicago or Joliet or anything?
I was going to, but I had a dentist appointment that I couldn't.
Got you.
Yeah, but or else I would have went. But I heard there was a good turnout and stuff. I didn't know if you went to the one in Chicago or the one in DC or.
Yeah, I was in Chicago, but there was huge rallies all over the country, and obviously we want to save the postal service. We want there to be a postal service, put it like that.
Exactly.
A public institution that serves America equally, universal service, that kind of thing. The institution, the infrastructure, the postal service is definitely worth saving. But the current job structure is horrible. It's not something you want to put your, it's not something you want to build your life on. And that needs to change. This needs to be a job. If we're going to be able to serve the community, and the community is going to have stability, and we're going to have the people out there in the community, which we have right now, man, without any tax money, you got somebody out there, looking out for the elderly and the kids, and, kind of just being a face in the neighborhood of the federal government and at no charge. And it's a beautiful thing, but that ain't going to be, that's not going to be the case if it's a job that nobody wants and they can't retain employees, and people feel like they're expendable and not essential. You think the expendable workforce is going to get out there in a pandemic, get out there when the times are tough and make sure they serve the American people? It's not going to work. So we really got to do something about this contract and about this, about our president just not taking our what we say into consideration. I mean, I think that's the most disrespectful thing you can do to the hardworking letter carrier out there, is to say, yeah, I know you guys didn't like that TA, but I know what's best for you. I'm gonna implement the terms anyway. Man, that's a slap in the face to every single letter carrier, and I feel the frustration, and that's why I'm trying to come up with a solution. Like I said, we can push forward on these charges, and at least give the members of the union hearings and let them see what it is and why and how these decisions were made, because they were made on their behalf, on behalf of the members of the union. And right now, it's not making no sense, right? And maybe we have hearings and it makes more sense, and then we're like, okay, well, now we understand. Or maybe we have hearings and it still doesn't make sense, and we say, you know what, we're going to have to get ourselves a new president, or at least in the interim until we can elect a new one, we need to put somebody else in charge. And that would be our right as members of the union, but we can only get there, like I said, if the members of the executive council call these charges substantial this week. It's a real simple vote, but we're going to have to make sure everyone knows. If you have a strong opinion about it, please let the members of the council know.
Yeah, definitely. And check out Caref for Prez. You just released an update not too long ago on your Facebook.
Yep.
And is there anything else you want to add? Any other updates? Anything like that?
I think that's it, man. Like you said, I mean, we're constantly putting stuff onto the main website, which is careforprez.org. But, you know, follow us on Facebook and TikTok and YouTube and all that other stuff as well. So
Awesome. Yeah, I appreciate you coming on and talking. I know this is, you know, we didn't expect, well, I didn't expect to hear anything today because it's only been a week. And then, you know, the details drop and everybody's going crazy, crashing out. And just, I'm getting a lot of comments and stuff. And we're all just frustrated and just like our devalued. We feel devalued. We feel just, you know, it's, you know, disheartening. But all we could do is if we don't agree with our president right now, just vote him out. You know, care for Prez for sure.
yeah, I appreciate that. But like I said, the new contract is going to start. I mean, this contract expires. This is now our contract. The process is over. Our contract expires in May of 2026. And if you don't want President Renfro to be making all the decisions regarding the next contract, we're going to have to do something right now. And that's why I say we have that opportunity with the charges. And it gives us something to do too, man, because when you feel frustrated and you feel like you have no say and, you know, that kind of thing, then you feel depressed. But at least if we're doing something, we're involved, we're making our voices heard. I think that's a better alternative. So let's do it. We got a couple of days to make our voices heard. Let's do it.
Yeah, definitely. 100%. Mike, I appreciate you coming on. Definitely look forward to having you on soon. Thank you guys all for tuning in. If you guys resonate with Mike, comment below, care for Prez, and I'll see you guys soon.
Thanks, Nick.